June 27. National HIV Testing Day. In the United States, nearly 1.1 million people living with HIV, and almost 1 in 5, do not know they are infected. Getting the test is the first step to finding out if you have HIV. The Centers for Disease Control recommends anyone between the age of 13 and 64 receive an HIV test as part of a routine physical. For those who are sexually active, the CDC recommends testing once per year and sometimes more frequently, depending on risk factors. Anyone who tests positive should know the steps to living a longer and healthier life with HIV and how to help stop the spread of HIV to others. These steps include getting medical care, HIV education, and regularly taking proper medications. On National HIV Testing Day, testing sites around the country will be open, including mobile testing units. HIV itself was identified in the 19th century by French and American scientists. Dr. Robert Gallo co-discovered HIV as the cause of AIDS. This breakthrough meant companies could begin testing for antibodies produced in response to this virus and hopefully protect people from the effects of HIV. Initial tests conducted in this period were not to diagnose people with HIV or AIDS, but to screen donated blood for a possible infection. The advance of HIV testing among the common public was marred by the stigma attached to the illness. The fear of contaminated blood was running high, even though a small fraction of people had contracted HIV through blood transfusions.
The nature of these tests meant scientists and labs got a lot of false positives. Medical uncertainty meant people did not know if the positive result meant people were infected or had simply been exposed. A label on one of the early tests in the Smithsonian Museum of American History clearly states that it was not to be used as a test to screen for HIV or AIDS. These reasons turned the testing process on its head. New protocols were added, new experimental studies were conducted, and testing awareness drives were conducted. An American called Timothy Ray Brown was the first person to be cured of HIV. Contracting the illness at university in the late 90s, he received a stem cell transplant 10 years after being diagnosed with leukemia. Luckily for Timothy, his donor had a rare genetic mutation conferring resistance to HIV. Timothy has remained HIV-free ever since. Scientists have been trying to replicate this success ever since and are using this lesson to try and develop a broadly applicable cure. In the late 19th century, dozens of scientists worked round the clock to create a revolutionary new HIV test that changed how this illness was diagnosed. 10 years later, the National Association of People with AIDS founded National HIV Testing Day to increase the number of people testing themselves for this illness. The program got off to a very successful start and has been running ever since.
Hey, thank you for watching the video. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe as it helps the channel grow. Just 0.3% of you have subscribed. Make sure you subscribe. See you in the next video.